so funny.
All right, let's start.
Okay. All right. So I am Jen Jordan. You can follow me on Periscope at Just One Drop. And
I'm Sharon Wild, and this is
Andrew Wild.
And your Periscope handle is
YLTWF.
YLTWF. So we are doing this Periscope on dueling phones. We're gonna compete you guys
screens a little bit
against each other, and we're gonna see like who gives us most hearts. You know, the Wild people, do they give us more hearts, or do the Jordan people give us more hearts?
So we have a bit of a disadvantage there, Jen, because of the time zone.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes, but
so for people watching on my feed.
See if yours is going to last with a low battery.
So you guys must be night owls because it's 1 a.m. Where we are.
Wow.
Actually, you have an advantage with the time, maybe.
Well, true, it is the daytime.
It's 4 p.m. where they're from. So these are my friends, the Wilds from Australia. I'm Jen Jordan, live in the United States in Kentucky, and we are here at Session B of the Young Living Convention. And so we wanted to just do a Periscope for you guys, kind of interviewing each other. And where are you? Is anybody here? Like, tell us where you're from. I'm interested in knowing what countries you guys are from, what states you're from.
So that's one of the great things that we love about Young Living is that we have people all around the world, so all across the US and all around the world, and we get to form these amazing friendships.
Texas. Awesome. Hello, Texas. We're in Texas. Los Angeles. Wow. Cool. Sorry, my eyes are old, so I'm going to have to go like this to read your comments. That's really cool. So I was there last week. Yay. It's only midnight here. No, my body is on Eastern time, okay? So I really wanted to interview the Wilds because the Wilds are just special people to me. I met them last year at convention, and it's been awesome to be on trips together and to just, stay up till all hours of the night. Yeah. And
we're lucky with this distance that they can't see what our eyes look like right now.
Because our eyes are a little, we've had a little bit of nitro today.
We
like
have
14 maybe.
And a couple of zings as well.
Yes, absolutely. So it's been great to get to know them and hear their hearts and just hear their story. And so I wanted you guys who follow me to meet the Wilds and to hear about them. And we just thought we would reciprocate that and let some of you guys that follow the Wilds get to know me a little bit. So tell me just about yourselves a little bit. Tell me about your family, where you live, that kind of thing.
So Andrew and I...
Is Wild big in Australia? They want to know that.
YL is big in Australia. It's not as big as it is in the US, but we're working on that.
Yes, that's right. We're working on that.
Big enough for them to be gold leaders. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
So Andrew and I are passionate Young Living oilers, and we'll share a little bit of where our journey started, because basically Young Living is our life now. Most of our friendships that we have with wonderful people like Jen, and also just what we love doing. So we love sharing Young Living. So I actually was introduced to Young Living through a health expo. So I went there and I instantly knew that there was something really unique about what Young Living had to offer. I couldn't articulate that at the time, so I didn't know what it was that was special about the oils, but I just knew that there was something really special. So I brought a box of the Everyday Oils collection home to my wonderful husband here, and what did he say?
Yeah, well, when she brought these 9 oils at the time home, I was a little bit like, you've got 9 oils here, you've got 60 or 70
already
under the sink there. Why do you need another 9? And Sharon was like, well, these are different. I went, well, how are they any different than this, the 60
aren't all essential oils all the same?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, I had no idea, and she said these are different, and I was like, well, you go and do what you want to do. I wasn't really particularly interested or wanting to argue the point because I didn't understand. And so it wasn't until maybe a few months later that I had one of my first experiences with the oils, where I had occasional head discomfort, and I used peppermint, and I felt much better after using peppermint for that. And I thought, well, hang on, these oils, there might be something to them. So that's when I first thought, okay, these actually work.
Right.
And that, for me, I needed the physical
experience to see.
Yeah, like just because they might smell nice or you think you feel better, that wasn't enough for me. So I needed that.
So for me, it was very much an intuitive knowing of what they could do. But for Andrew, he needed to have that actual experience. And that's not just a male husband thing, but I suppose there's probably more male husbands that need to have some sort of evidential proof there.
So I've heard a little bit of that story, and it's funny to like be reminded of the details of that and how sometimes your husband's just like, you're on crack. Do you think that
Yeah, that's right.
So I had a similar story in that my sister was sending me essential oils for quite a while, for actually several years, and I didn't believe it. Like, I was the skeptic, and I was like, this is old wives' tale stuff, that this is not real, you're crazy. And kind of similar situation, I was in a position of needing to meet a health goal that I had, and it was a pretty serious situation. And so I thought, well, let me look outside of Western medicine and what I know and start researching some alternatives. And as I did that, I found that there's a lot backing up essential oils and the use of them to support the body. And so I started doing that, and over time people found out what I was using essential oils for and how they worked and what we were doing with them and how to use them, and it just kind of became what it is with Young Living as I talked to people about it and I talked to friends about it and shared about it. So yes, the hubbies do definitely need oils. They do.
Everyone needs them, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting because my husband believed it before I did. He really was like way more open-minded than I was. I needed the scientific evidence and the research, and he was like, here's a testimony, I believe it, we're good.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's fun.
So for us in our early journey, I just madly fell in love with the oils, and I never had any intention of sharing them. And I found back then that was the case for a lot of people. Not so much the case these days. A lot of people see that vision a little bit earlier in their journey, but for us, we purely just loved using them. And then it came to almost a sense of like a moral obligation for us. I felt that we had something that could enhance people's health on so many different levels that I felt I was depriving people of something by not helping to empower them. So that's how our sharing journey actually started. So Jen, how did your sharing journey start?
So it was similar. I had no intention of sharing the oils. I was honestly like ashamed to be using them. I thought people would think I was crazy, like I thought my sister was crazy. And just over time, as people were at my house and they smelled something or they gave me a hug and they're like, wow, you smell really good. And I'm like, actually, I have that on for occasional head discomfort today, you know. And so it's not a perfume, but let me tell you about it. So it's just with close friends, I started kind of being more open about what we were doing, knowing that like they weren't going to judge me. Ha, you thought I was crazy. And I had a friend who's really well known in my community. We have a lot of common friends, and she posted on Facebook one day wanting to know who she could learn about essential oils from, because she was wanting to learn about oils. And several of my close friends tagged me in the comments. You need to learn from Jen Jordan. You need to comment from, you need to contact Jen Jordan. And I was like, oh no, it's out. People know I'm the crazy oil lady. And I suddenly got a lot of private messages in my Facebook inbox about people who wanted to know about essential oils. They wanted to know how they worked. They wanted to know how I use them. They wanted to know what I'm using them for. Just a lot of questions that I was like, wow, this is fascinating to me, because I truly thought all of my friends will think I'm crazy for this. Nobody would be remotely interested in using essential oils. And so I told those 12 or 15 people, I don't have time to tell you about all that I'm doing with essential oils right now, but I'll just, like, Tuesday night, come over to my house and I will teach a class. And so I had these 12 or 15 people over for my first class, and I got basically a script from my sister, and I sat at the table and I essentially read a script about, these are the everyday oils that I use every day. And I think we all felt that way in the beginning.
Yeah.
I think most people in Young Living did. And so I just talked about, these are the, I truly was using the starter kit oils every day. And so I kind of went through like the properties of those oils and how I use them and what I use them for. And there were 5 or 6 outside of that, the everyday oils that I was using every day, and I talked about those too. And at the end of that class, almost every person there bought a kit. Over the course of the week, I think every person there bought a kit. And so I was like, awesome, you have your oils now, go away, go do your thing, have fun with your oils. And I thought that they would just be gone, and that's not what happened, because they all started bringing their friends back to me saying, so-and-so wants to learn too. And so it just kind of snowballed for me into teaching classes as there was a demand, or meeting with a person one-on-one as there was a demand. There really was not an intent to sell oils. Honestly, I don't sell oils. I've never, right, I never have bought, I've never stocked Young Living oils and sold them. Occasionally, I'll have a friend who is in desperate need of a bottle of RC, and I happen to have one unopened. But even now, like, I don't sell them that oil. I just say, okay, get on your VO and order it. Here, take this bottle, and when yours comes, replace it. Yeah. Because I'm not interested in peddling product or stocking product. So that's really not what I do.
So we see our role as empowering people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So empowering them with resources so that they can make decisions for themselves about all aspects of their health. But also I see our role as really facilitating. So we help to give people that inspiration, and then that can help for them to lead their own journey forward from there.
And I think that that's like, you know, if you give a man a fish, you feed them for one meal. But if you teach them how to fish, then they can feed themselves forever. And so I love that analogy of that's what we do as leaders in Young Living. We empower people to go out on their own and figure out how to take ownership and become their own health advocate.
Absolutely. And it's all aspects of health as well. So people sometimes think, you know, well, it's health, but it's emotional wellness.
Absolutely.
And it's working with their mind and their spiritual connection.
Absolutely. And I think even down to nutrition, I think there's a lot of Young Living products that address nutrition. And, you know, I don't know if you guys who are watching, were any of you at session A at convention? I think somebody said that they were here last week.
Earlier.
Yeah. So when Gary Young got up and he was like, I'm going to put Monsanto out of business, and everybody stood up and so like I think there is this very much this widening of the scope of what Young Living is about. And it's, I mean, it's even touching nutrition now, and what you put in your body is so important.
So it's nutritional support for wellness, but also replacing some things. So I was talking about einkorn there in that example. So so the food that we eat too.
Right. So that's really cool. So so you guys kind of heard both of our stories and how we ended up as leaders in Young Living accidentally.
Without any intention at all in the start of looking to do that. But what's happened as we've been able to do that is we've all, both of us have been able to help to empower people with their health and wellness, but we've also been able to help people with having more of a sense of them being able to steer the course of their own ship. Right. So helping them with the sense of purpose and also abundance as well. So that's something that sometimes people ask, you know, what is our why? Why do we do the things that we do? And certainly empowering people with their health, but also giving people that opportunity in life to have more freedom and flexibility, to spend more time with their families and to do things that they weren't able to do before. Right. And that's just so rewarding.
So tell me, like, when you evaluate, I know, I love their accent. Let me tell you, I've known these people for like 14 months, and I imitated their accent for the first time today, and she totally rolled her eyes at me. And I'm like, I've never done that.
That's what. So we're here at Young Living Convention, and we have a lot of friends. That's one of the things that we love here, and we go from table to table in the particular place where we were, and every table imitated my accent just tonight.
See, it was your time. It was her time to be imitated. That's so funny. Australia is on my bucket list, totally. I agree. I don't know who said that, but yes, Australia and Africa are like two places that are absolutely on my bucket list. So I could try to start doing the rest of this scope like them. Would you guys like that if I tried to talk like them? No, I'm just kidding. I can't pull it off. But tell me, so I know a little bit of this, but they don't. And so tell me that financial aspect, that financial reward that comes from accidentally falling into this leadership position. What did that do for your family? Like, tell me what it looked like before and tell me what it looks like now.
So Angela and I had a business beforehand that we really enjoyed doing, but it didn't give us a sense of purpose. It didn't give us a sense of having the type of lifestyle that we wanted to lead. One of the things that I do love, it's not a financial aspect of Young Living, is I don't have an alarm clock anymore that I have to get up to. So
Except
I really
when we're
like
at
that.
convention.
Except,
Yes, at convention, and at convention
when we're
comes really
traveling
early.
Yes, but at home I don't need to get up by the alarm clock. So that's one of the aspects that I love. But what Young Living has enabled us to do is Angela and I are now able to work together at home.
Oh, awesome.
So it's a lot of people that we know, Jen, and a lot of the leaders here, particularly we call them our
I didn't buy
Texan
Gary's
oily friends and our Kentucky friends here too,
Yes.
have been able to retire their husbands. So, and there's something all in between that scale there. So some people, through sharing Young Living, it might just be with a few friends and family, can just earn an extra $30, $50, $100 a month, which can be really significant for them,
Yeah.
right through to people literally being able to retire their husbands. So for us, it's offered the financial freedom for us to be able to do something that we love doing. So we don't have the business that we used to have, because this is what we now do full time. And how about
good.
for yourself, Jen? How is this
So
changed?
yeah, so my husband and I went to seminary right out of college and studied for a ministry degree, and I know the Tesla, that was freaking amazing, whoever that was. Yes, and April Pointer is my sister, so some of you guys are making these connections of who's who. So she's the crazy oil lady who sent me oils, you guys. So anyway, we went to seminary. My husband became a pastor, and I was a stay-at-home mom. Had our first child right as we graduated from seminary, and so our goal was to keep me home, and we made a lot of sacrifices. We had one car for a long time. We went without a lot of things. We didn't have smartphones for a long time. We had a very, very tight budget, just in obedience to knowing that the call in our lives is for me to be home with our kids. And so, I just feel like we really honored that call and just made it happen, whatever it took. And so along the way, I did little odd things. I had a monogramming business on Etsy for a while. I had a mural painting business for a while. And so I did things here and there, but whatever I did enabled me to be home, with my kids and kind of on my own terms. But when Young Living came along, and the income started to become significant, and specifically like when I was able to rise up into the Diamond leadership position last year, that income is astronomical compared to what we were living off of before. Honestly, it hasn't changed our lifestyle a whole lot. I drive a Honda Odyssey. My husband drives a Honda Pilot. We live in a nice house, but it's not anything extravagant. It'll be paid off this year. So we didn't increase our cost of living, our standard of living. We really increased our standard of living that much. We have been to Europe a couple times, which is awesome, but that was paid for by Young Living. And so all of these blessings that came with it, we really have kind of maintained who we are. It really hasn't changed. I feel like money doesn't change who you are. Money amplifies who you are. And so what we found out about us is that we just love people. And so we've been able to meet some needs. And my heart was like that before, and I would see a need and wish I could meet it, but now I can. Now I can see a single mom who can't do Christmas for her kids and just say, here, go do Christmas for your kids. Or I can see, this past year we had a lady that we knew that's starting her life over with nothing. And we just gave her a budget and said, go buy a new car. And so needs that we're able to see, ministries that we're able to support, or things that we believe in that are really just dear to our hearts. We go to a family camp every year, and honestly, the first year we went to family camp, it was a struggle for us to pay for family camp. And last year, while we were at family camp, awesome, that's cool. While we were at family camp, were able to write a check to sponsor, I can't even remember how many kids for summer camp. So it's just a really neat kind of circle of what God has brought us to and where he brought us from. And I feel like, I'll never forget when I'm teaching a class and I talk about a premium starter kit being $150 and somebody says, I just can't afford that. I will never discount that, because I was in a place for a long time where I couldn't do $150 for a starter kit. And so I don't ever want to forget what that's like. You know, I want to always remember what it's like for money to be tight and to not be, you know, hugely free, and to tell people, like, you know what, you could eliminate your Starbucks every day, and in 3 weeks you'll have the money for a starter kit, or, you know, help somebody strategize. But I don't ever want to be like, it's just $150, because it's $150 is $150, whether you make 30 grand or $1 million, you know, and so that's something that's really important to me to not lose sight of.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jen, some of the things that Young Living have facilitated for you, because I remember when I first met Jen about a year ago, that we were talking about going to Ecuador with one of the Young Living leadership retreats.
And I was like, I'm not going
Jen's
to
like,
Ecuador.
I'm not
no,
going.
not
and
going to
Andrew
Ecuador.
was saying, you are going. We're going to get you there. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And how many trips have you had since then?
I don't know. A lot.
So Young Living has sent Jen all around the world.
I just got my passport. Andrew and Sharon and I were sitting at a table at like 2 a.m. a couple nights ago, just recollecting this experience of meeting, you know, at convention last time. And I didn't even have a passport. I had never had a passport in my whole life, you guys. I had never left America. I'd gone to Mexico. That's it. That doesn't really count. I grew up in El Paso. You crossed a bridge and you were in Mexico. And I had just qualified for silver, which is in Spokane, outside of Spokane. I had never left my kids. I had left my kids overnight for one night to go to a funeral. That was the only time I'd ever left my kids. I've never left my kids with my parents. I've never, it was a huge deal for me to go to Silver Club. Yeah. And I remember sitting down with them and feeling the anxiety, feeling my heart pound, just talking about leaving it. No, I did not do silver in 6. If you did, congratulations. But you know what? I bought an Aroma Complete. So, in fact, this month I'm redeeming ER points to get a free Aroma Complete. So how about that?
Wow.
Anyway, so I just couldn't even imagine I was invited as one of 10 people to work the farm for a week. So not only get to go to Silver Retreat for 2 or 3 days, but to go a week ahead of time and work the farm. And so Andrew and Sharon had that experience the year before when my sister was there, and my sister got to do that too. And so I was like, all I want to do is drive a tractor, because Sharon got to drive a tractor. And so I still was like, I don't know if I'm going to go. It's a week away from my family, and I anticipated missing my kids so much that it was going to hurt in my chest. I thought, I'm going to get on that plane and I'm going to be like, what am I doing? And I'm going to panic. And so about 3 weeks after convention, I got on a plane to go to this farm and work the farm for a week where I didn't know anybody there. And I got on the plane and I was totally at peace about it. And I got there and I worked the farm for a week, and y'all, I forgot I had kids. For real. There were days I do love my kids.
She's having so much fun.
But I would get to the end of the day and be like, oh my gosh, I haven't called my kids today. You know, it was just surreal, being with these great friends that I made. And I mean, some of those friends that I made on that trip are some of my closest friends now in Young Living. Who am I cracking up? So I came home from Silver Club. I'm going to Ecuador. I messaged them and I was like, I'm getting a passport. And so I went and got a passport, and they actually qualified for the same trip to Ecuador. And so in November we got to go to Ecuador together. Yeah. And that was a really, really cool experience.
It was a fantastic experience. We got to go to the clinic and have lots of unique experiences there at the Young Living Clinic. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a really fun trip, and staying up late there in Ecuador and just developing new relationships. And
that's really, we're now here at the convention, International Convention in Texas, and that's one of the things that we love about the Young Living community is those relationships that are formed with people all around the world. And you come back and you see them, and it's like, we haven't been apart. It's just
absolutely,
the relationship grows and unfolds, and it's just
and really with social media now, I can be as in touch with Andrew and Sharon in Australia as I am with my BFF that lives down the street. We can just, chat it up on Facebook or whatever, and we private message each other on Facebook some. We strategize together about our business, and it's just a really, really cool thing that, I can get really cool ideas from them that I wouldn't have thought of myself. and maybe we do things differently on my team. So Andrew and Sharon are completely cross-lined to me. I don't make any money off of them. They can't make any money off of me. But, we can say, hey, here's what my leaders taught me. And they can say, well, my leaders taught me this. And we can kind of collaborate that and work together to help each other meet goals. And that's a really, really cool thing that you get to do.
We had a question there asking, do we go to all the events together? And the answer to that is yes, we do.
Yeah.
And I noticed actually at this convention that there's a lot more guys.
Yeah, there's a lot more partners that have been coming along. So a significant increase. This is our 5th international convention that we're attending. And I remember the first one, Andrew, you stuck out in the crowd like a... because there were very few men there.
Very few.
Whereas now, there's a lot of people here actually coming.
You know what? I was going through the breakout session. So the breakouts for session B, some of them are different from session A because the speakers couldn't stay for both weeks. But I saw 2 only for men breakout sessions for this session, like for session B. So I don't even remember what session A, if they had specifically to men, but like 2 breakout sessions just for men. Your husband came this year. So tell us just in a quick comment, like, was he encouraged? Was he more on board when he left than when he got here? Because that's what I tend to see, husbands who just kind of come along to support their wives, and by the end of the week they're like, we're doing this. So yeah, that's super cool. So tell me, from this year at convention, what's been your biggest takeaway? She said her husband was super encouraged. Yeah. You can add your husband to your downline. You just have to contact, is it Conduct at Young Living? Who do they contact? It's Tax Exempt. Tax Exempt at youngliving.com. They'll send you a form to add your husband's name to your Young Living account.
To your account, That's what we did. We've got both of our names on the one account. So co-applicants?
Right.
Yeah.
So you're both partners in your business.
So just addressing that topic first, if you can have your husband come along to an event, whether it doesn't need to be a convention, but come along to any Young Living event, it really helps them with an understanding of what these crazy wives are talking about. So for Andrew, the first convention I went to in Australia, I actually asked Andrew to come with me, and I didn't know anyone there at the time. It was early in our journey, and that really helped Andrew to have an understanding of what it was that I was talking about all the time.
It made such an impact seeing Gary up on stage that Sharon then asked, after the Australian convention, she said, look, there's a US convention on in 3 months, let's go. And I was like, well... That's a pretty big commitment.
So at the time, so that was early in our journey, and we weren't sharing Young Living, and that was like the furthest thing from our mind. We were purely just loved using the oils, and I heard that the convention was coming up in 3 months' time. They announced that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I said to Angela, I have no idea why. It doesn't make any logical, rational sense at all, but we need to be at that convention. So 3 months later, we flew over to the US and attended our first international convention. And now we are here... many years later, and this is our 5th international convention, and each convention has been a different experience for us. So in our early journey, it was very much about finding out about different ways to use the products and getting inspired, and for us, each convention has had an additional component. So for us at this point in our journey, it's very much about connecting with other like-minded people, and particularly connecting with other leaders. So we get to talk about things at strategies and ideas and helping each other and just growing the Young Living leadership pool and community, and it helps everyone take us another step forward. So personally, that's what I find is the greatest benefit of us all being here together and being able to experience it. But if I step back in my earlier journey of some of the things that I actually gained from attending convention, it is an amazing experience to be surrounded by thousands of other like-minded people, hearing inspiring ways that we can actually take more control of our own health, our own journey. So that was just hearing those ideas and getting that inspiration and being able to meet, all of those people. So for you, Andrew, what has the convention experience been?
Firstly, we're going to have to wrap this up because you're about to run out of battery.
My battery, if we cut off, it's because my battery died.
Well, what does it mean? For me, it's about connecting with other people. It's about connecting with Gary and the vision and mission again of Young Living. Because once you understand what Young Living stands for, you can't not want to be a part of that.
Right.
Like it's as simple as that. If you really, everyone can connect with what Young Living stands for.
And for some people that come, or most people who come to convention, they describe it as a life-changing experience. Now, that's a fairly big statement. Some people say, that's too big. But literally, our team members, when they come to convention, we say to them beforehand, this will change your life. And they go, yeah, okay. It'll be fun. But they come out and they say, I have shifted as a person. My personal development journey has come so far in these last 3 days.
And you have a different purpose, and you realize, like, this is bigger than me.
Yes.
This is bigger
than any one person, any one team. This
Yeah.
is a global type of movement that we're part of.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a way that a normal, everyday person like me can actually make a huge difference in the world.
A huge difference.
And we don't really get that opportunity for just normal, everyday people to be able to actually have such a big impact in the world.
So, Jen, for you, what is it that you take out of
So
the
I just have to reply to that comment. I have a portable charger. It's dead. I think that my first convention was all about product knowledge. I signed up for every workshop that had to do with just learning about the product. I'm a nerd at heart, and so I went to chemistry breakouts, and I wanted to learn about the science, and I wanted to learn about the research, and all of those things. That was what my main goal was. I've been to one breakout so far, so if that says anything to you about how that changes.
But you also need to explain partly why.
Yes, because now
contacting so many people.
So now it's about connecting with other leaders, and it's exactly what you said. And it's not all about, we don't sit and talk about our business and strategize and all of that all the time. It's just about hearing someone's heart and connecting with them on a really deep level and recognizing this person has the same struggles that I do. This person has the same, issues in their organization that I do. And so it's sometimes you just need a person
and
that
pulling
understands
together
you.
and saying, how can we help these people?
How can we, what are you doing to solve this issue? Or what are you doing to stay encouraged? Or what are you doing, whatever it is. And so I just think that it's bigger than strategy. There's not an agenda. When we sit down and have
talk
drinks
for hours
together, it's not
and
about...
the drinks are ninja type drinks, just in case you
of
want
course.
to we get high on ninja.
It's not about what can I take from you. It's not. It's about
what can we pull together for the greater benefit.
Right. Yeah. So I think that that's a really huge thing for me this year. And honestly, now I've been on so many trips that I have people like the Wilds that I only see on these trips. And so for me, it's super important to be able to connect with them. And so if I run into something, I had this awesome plan of all these breakouts I was going to go to. It's not important. I had great plans. But maybe I ran into the Wilds in the hallway and I was like, oh my gosh, I love you guys. Let's sit down and talk. And, 3 hours went by. But,
or 4 or 5
or 4 or 5 or 6, yes. And so for me, that's been a really important thing this year. But also, I'm in a different place this year than where I was last year in the number of people that I have at convention this year that I have a relationship with, and I serve them as a leader. And so it's really important to me to be here to serve and to, connect with people and say, how are you doing? What session did you go to? What did you think about it? And be somebody who they can debrief with and they can process with, or there was something that they didn't understand and help them walk through that, or, there's something that they're just fired up, excited about. And I had a girl, I was coming out of the bathroom and she was going into the bathroom. We stood there and talked for an hour about something that she heard in the main session that just really, really penetrated her heart. And she was like, I need you to know where I've been for the last 3 months. And it was something I had no idea. I was like, you know what? You didn't come and tell me that. And so let's stand here and talk about it and debrief what you heard in the session. And let's talk about your goals, and let's talk about, how we can apply that to your life and your marriage and your business and what that looks like for you. And so it's really an honor to get to support people like that and to get to play that role of somebody who can serve and help them grow.
And of course, one of the great things about convention is new products.
Oh my gosh,
products are awesome this year. Particularly, what I love about the products this year is they're in the chemical-free lifestyle area. So I just love empowering people with that aspect of their health journey too.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I can't encourage you strongly enough, it's getting late so I'm losing my words, is to get yourself to as many Young Living events as you can. So whether they're local events, whether it's convention, whether it's aiming towards attending some of the leadership events that are available, so the different clubs that are available, because there's nothing like coming to a Young Living event. It's great that we have the opportunity of sharing information through Periscope and other means like that, but there's no experience that's the same as actually being at these events. And you can hear the theme of what we're talking about is really about relationships, and those relationships become so much more tangible and meaningful.
And
when
just
we
rich.
can
They
come
become
together.
more rich.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I want to say something to all the greens out there. I don't know how many of you guys are greens. On the events tab at youngliving.com, you can see all of the events, your local events, the global events. All you greens out there. So, 2 years ago, I would walk into a room full of people that I don't know, and I was really uncomfortable. And I would just kind of stand off in the corner and play on my phone or drink something or, get a snack so my hands are full and I'm busy or whatever. But, no, not the greens like the Adam greens. I mean,
I was wondering
the
if when I said green,
personality of the green. So if you guys have done the color, sorry, I'm assuming all kinds of things here. There's a personality test where it breaks it down into 4 categories, and you have red, yellow, green, blue. And so I'm very strongly green, which is very data based, very regimented, very disciplined. Or not, I don't know, I'm not that disciplined, but you know what I'm saying. Task oriented, fact based, and so. If I was standing with the Wilds having a conversation and 6 people walked up, I would just stand back and wait till they finished, and then I would come back to them. And it never occurred to me to introduce myself to anyone. That would have felt like I was interrupting and burdening and taking away or something like that. And I've learned that actually that kind of makes me look like a snob. And so I now, if somebody were to come up that knew you guys and I didn't know, I would immediately be like, hey, I'm Jen Jordan, and reach out and shake their hand. And it makes them feel so good that I took the time to introduce myself and I want to know them. And so I think that, getting to know people, I would just encourage you. So they're encouraging you to go to the events. I just want to encourage you to meet new people at those events.
So
put yourself out there.
Physically attending. It's about interacting and engaging with the experience.
Right.
And sometimes people think, well, I don't know anyone. I don't want to go to an event by myself.
Yeah, you will meet the best people in the world at a Young Living event. And I think that, there's a tendency to bring a friend or bring your husband and hide behind them. And don't do that. Put yourself out there, reach out and introduce yourself and shake someone's hand, and it's going to be the biggest blessing. You have no idea
Some of the
those relationships
that you'll
come
hear
out of that.
from people when you meet them just are life-changing.
Yeah. If I hadn't sat down with you guys under a tent to eat lunch for 4 hours on the farm, we wouldn't have this friendip. And so, if I had sat there quietly and
you
hid
probably
behind...
wouldn't have gone to Silver Club. And
no, I would not have gone to Ecuador. See, I would not even be here. It's all the Wilds that did all that.
I'm not taking credit for that. That's an example.
So yeah, I think that it's super, super important. Whoever you sit next to, introduce yourself to them. Don't just sit and play on your phone or take notes in your notebook. Say, hey, I'm Jen. What's your name? Where are you from? How long have you been with Young Living? Strike up a conversation and find something in common with them. Because by the end of the night, you'll have a new friend.
Yeah. And keep doing it as well. So don't just do it on the first day. Keep on introducing yourself to more and more people as you go along.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys so much for joining us. My phone really is going to die, and so we're going to go. But I appreciate you guys watching. I love all the hearts. And if you guys would like to follow me or share with your followers, I would appreciate that. And we'll see you guys soon.
Okay,
bye.
Thanks.
See ya.